I'm delighted to introduce Susan La Mont. And we're just so excited to see your fine art, which it has such a strong, wide variety. And I was hoping, Susan, that you might start by giving us your background, your home, your school life, formative experiences to your art.
Okay, well, I was born in New York City, and I did my undergraduate work at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, which gave me a really solid foundation in things like figure anatomy, drawing, painting, and photography. By senior year, I was having a very tough time trying to decide between painting and photography, so I more or less majored in both.
Ah.
And then I, went on to raise a family and start working to get our kids through college. And I then went to Syracuse University for my master's work. Learned a lot in the illustration program there about professionalism regarding technique and ways of putting together composition. And so that was all very, very helpful and just sort of moved me along to the next step, which was basically painting, and painting in a very photographic style, which kind of fit with my love of photography in the past.
That's great. You really shared the flow. And just to move to the present for a moment, your current work, how has COVID-19, affected your practice, life and so forth?
It's taken the pressure off of having to deal with a lot of domestic responsibilities, like running errands. Mm-hmm. So I've been really grateful for that because it's always been a struggle for me to balance my other responsibilities and my creative life. And this way, I don't have to go to the store anymore. I don't have to visit the dentist. Mm-hmm. I can just plan my day around painting, which is what I do about 6 days a week. On the other hand, it has created a little bit of pressure in that, knowing that we might not all be here in 2 weeks. There's a sense that I really want to finish some of the series that I started years ago. Mm. So I'm concentrating on the painting and trying to get a few things done.
It so sounds like also a time for closure. Try to reach closure. Fabulous. So what influences your work, and where do you draw inspiration? You kind of gave us the early view, and connecting photography and painting sounds very copacetic.
I just pretty much respond to everything that's going on around me. Sometimes I'm out with friends and I identify a moment that either takes place in a restaurant or out on the street that I think is interesting and that I think other people would enjoy.
Mm. Okay.
So that's mostly it. And that applies to the landscape painting too, because besides the genre painting, which is, mostly what I enjoy doing, I fall in love with a particular landscape and just have a reaction to that, a visceral reaction. And then I want to fix it in some sort of permanent setting, like a painting, and then share it with other people.
Sounds like capturing with a camera, too,
Capturing is a word that you hear artists use all the time. They always want to capture a significant moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that holds true for me.
And you have a wide range of subject matter, from figurative, land, city, your oceans, your still life. Can you talk a little bit about your studio practice? Your process, materials you use, how you manage your studio, and maybe you could even show us some things that would help us see that.
Well, we're here in the studio now. I come in here usually by 11 o'clock every morning after having some coffee and waking up. But the commute's really good. I just walk down the hall and I start working. And, I take breaks for lunch and maybe 1 in the afternoon, go out and visit the garden or whatever. And then I pretty much wrap things up by 4 o'clock. And then update my website and my blog.
All right.
And wash the brushes.
Okay.
Which is the least happy time of my day.
Do you primarily work in oil?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Almost all in oil.
Okay.
I do have a watercolor station set up, but I don't get to do that very often.
All right. So can you show us a little since we're with
Sure.
you? I'd love to see it.
Yes, I'll have to disengage the iPad from where we are.
Okay, turn it around. Yeah.
Okay, so can you,
So can you take us to one place that you want to show us, one specific spot or piece of work?
Well, this is the setup.
Okay. All right. Oh,
I don't know. Well, that's coming along.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's the easel. I work from my computer. And the oil paints are over here.
Okay.
This is some of the work that I'm currently working on.
Okay.
We've got a vineyard painting here. And then some of the larger paintings are over here.
Okay.
I don't know how well this is coming along because I can't see.
All right. Yeah, I think this is enough to give us a little bit of a flow. Thank you.
I'll put this back.
Yeah. We appreciate being able to get a bird's eye view into your workspace and all the setups. Can you describe any memorable achievements or experiences as an artist?
As far as achievements go, I was juried into a museum show at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art in Indiana back in 2012.
Nice.
They do a contemporary realism biennial, which they have since stopped doing. It's a shame because the work at the show was amazing. And so 2 pieces of mine were juried into that. The juror was Frank Bernaducci of Bernaducci Mizell in New York. So that was nice. And once I arranged to meet a friend at a gallery in Bethesda. And when I got there, she had a big smile on her face and she pointed to my painting, which was in the exhibition. And it was a national show, and I was the first place award winner for that. So that was nice.
That's very nice.
It's things like that. There's nothing major. Yesterday, I was notified I won an award of excellence in an online show because of the pandemic. This year, I decided I was just going to concentrate on working as hard as I could and finishing up some series and doing only virtual galleries. So that was one of them. It's the Camelback Gallery. And, I'm just looking forward to doing more of that. It's less stress. You don't have to be carting paintings all over the place and then returning to pick them up. So
framing. And so great. That's wonderful. So, Susan, do you have a motto or a vision that guides your life as an artist?
Over the years, it's been a struggle for me because I paint in such a tight realist style. And people have, on occasion, said to me, why don't you loosen up? And I I've decided that I just have to stay true to myself.
Mhm.
And in fact, the Pratt Institute motto was be true to your work and your work will be true to you.
Hey, nice.
I find those are good words to live by. So I've just continued doing what I love.
Mhm.
And I find that very satisfying.
That's great. And I think that remembering your roots at Pratt and using that motto, I definitely think that adopting that motto has probably, contributed to your success. So finally, what advice might you give to younger artists?
Well, pretty much the same thing that I just said. Don't be swayed by what's going on in the art world at any particular time. Only you have your particular vision. And if you do what you love, you're going to feel satisfied. Whereas if you're trying to be someone else or paint like someone else, it's not the same. So I would just say, first, learn the fundamentals because they're
Mhm.
so important.
Mhm.
I can't possibly put a value on the anatomy class that I took at Pratt because it has served me very, very well over the years.
Mhm.
And I see other people who struggle with figure painting. So I'd say learn the fundamentals and then be true to yourself.
That's great, Susan, and very, very affirming and very, very true. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your work, and your wisdom.
Oh, thank
And
you.
we're delighted that you are part of the MPA Art Fest, and we know the audience will be very interested in checking the studio page of the MPA Art Fest site. And it's just wonderful to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.